Uh, right here, I want to discuss a philosophy, and this philosophy it's called works based salvation, and it's it's like a lot of people don't know exactly where this comes from. It's because the Bible is missing a couple books. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way. I'll tell you this: there's no way you can know the root without these couple books. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to know the full extent of the root without understanding these books. You know what I'm saying? There's three books: Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher. And in this book, Jasher, it it talks about, all right, for instance, there's a lot of people that worship Osiris or Nimrod or Mithra or Apollyon. It's all the same idea, repackaged. Or even some people would, when you look at Jesus on the cross, that's really Nimrod. That's not it, or it's Tammuz. Tammuz is just a reincarnation of Nimrod. You know what I mean? But basically, where this stuff comes from is this: in Egypt, okay. Uh, this guy came there, and his intentions was to become a merchant and make money. You know what I'm saying? And when he got there, everyone robbed him. You know what I'm saying? Of most of his wealth. So he was crushed, destroyed, man, beat, he was down. And while he was crying and remorseful of his idea to come to Egypt to become a merchant, he had this idea. And basically, this comes from knowing people's superstitions. And he found where they all buried their dead. And in Egypt, they considered this holy ground. I mean, why they make mummies and all these big old monoliths? It's because they were very superstitious people. Those pharaohs believed if they didn't have those pyramids on top of their uh, chamber, their burial chamber, they wouldn't go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? So look, you can exploit some people like that, especially if they're old and you're young. You know what I'm saying? So this guy that was crying, he was mad, man, that he lost all his money in Egypt trying to become a merchant. And he concocts a way to make his money back. So he goes to to their holy land, their consecrated ground, to their Vatican. You know what I'm saying? If you're buried in the Vatican, man, you're going to heaven for sure. The Pope assures this. Uh, he bought soldiers, and the soldiers went to the consecrated ground, to the burial ground, and basically they encamped it. And if let's say your dad died, and you, your brother, your sisters, your uncle, you're all carrying them on your shoulder. You're walking to your burial plot, and then all of a sudden there's all these soldiers there. You're like, "Hey man, I'm trying to bury my dad here," and they're like, "No, you can't bury him here. You got to pay us $200 or two. No, not $200. 200 pieces of silver." And they'd say, "Hey man, I don't have 200 pieces of silver. Hey, if we don't bury our dad here, he's not going to go to heaven." And they'd say, "I don't give a F. F you, pay me," like on Goodfellas. And guess what they did? They they didn't F you, they paid. And this guy, since he charged every person to bury their dead in the consecrated ground, you know what I'm saying? It was like the king in this time, he only gave one day. One day, everyone could address their issues with the kingdom, and he would rectify it. Right. So they're all complaining. They're like, "Man, this guy, man, He's charging us to bury our dead, man. We're broke, man. We can't do it, man. Our parents won't go to heaven unless we pay him to bury him in the consecrated ground, the holy ground. So the king went to go get reparations from this man, and this man perceived that the king was susceptible to bribery, so he just gave him all. He gave the king all the money that he made from this con, and the king was like, "You're my vice president now, sir." And the guy, eventually, the king died, and the scam artist with this hustle became Pharaoh, and this is Osiris. And then if you look about Osiris Nimrod, the black people worship him as a black messiah. The white people worship him as a white messiah. Same thing with the black Madonna and the white Madonna. Pre-Mary existed before Mary because it's Nimrod or Osiris or this guy's wife, and she was bestowed the honor of goddess. You know what I'm saying? And you take this hustle and you apply it to now, and it's still in effect. This guy, through his con, through people's superstition, he became not president, not captain, not chief. He became Pharaoh. He became God on earth in a man's form. You know what I'm saying? By this hustle, by the superstition. Me personally, I know, hey, I could go say some prayers, bury someone out in the backyard. It's consecrated ground. You know what I'm saying? Because why? I didn't consecrate it. It's just the fact that what part of the earth is not holy ground? You know what I'm saying? Really think about it. Is there what differentiates this piece of land from that piece of land? What, that the Pope sprinkled holy water? What, that the Pharaoh was bestowed the sacred knowledge from the gods? You know what I'm saying? From Thoth, where to bury the dead? Or is it just the people's ideological programming that made them believe in a superstition? You know what I'm saying? And fast forward now, okay, Pope. The Pope, listen, you could be a child molester, a woman killer, a liar, a traitor, treasonous. But hey, if you pay the Pope 200 bars of gold or silver, he shall pardon your sins. Because he is Jesus. He is the vicar of Christ. He is Jesus on earth. So he shall atone for you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the same thing as being the guy who had the soldiers around the holy, consecrated burial plot. You know what I'm saying? It's even like Jesus. I think he even said, he's like, look, your tombs, your sepulchers are carved out of the stone. It's all beautiful, but inside it's just dead bones. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a fraud, man. Our whole system is built on the same fraud, works based salvation. Okay, when it comes to the sepulcher, if you didn't work, if you didn't rob Peter to pay Paul to get your sepulcher, to put your bones in, you wouldn't go to heaven. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you only live so many years. You better rob, steal, kill, cheat to pay your 200 bars of gold. I mean, at that time, you could pay it to the Pharisee, and they could for you. You know what I'm saying? And they could even employ the Babylonians to build your sepulcher. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know this guy, man. He's not Catholic, but his family was Catholic. Okay, like hardcore Catholic. And basically, this guy's dad raped him, raped his brothers and sisters. The mother watched, and they were very devout Catholics. You know what I'm saying? The guy even was given the Delta programming, where he was given a pet that he got to know for till like probably from a baby until it was grown, and then his parents made him kill it. The same parents that raped him. You know what I'm saying? And this guy basically he explained to me how happy his was that his dad taught him how to work really hard. And his dad was a devout Catholic that raped him, his brothers, his sisters. The mother watched. They were very voyeuristic. You know what I'm saying? And it's basically, that's it, man. Listen, work your butt off. Pay your 200 bars of silver to Pharaoh. But he thanked him for teaching him how to work. He didn't say nothing about God. He didn't even believe in God. You know what I'm saying? This is how these things work, man. I mean, that's actual, factual, real talk. I mean, and listen, I don't look down on him. I mean, I know Leonardo da Vinci was raped, and he raped little boys because he was taught the same thing as those Catholics were, right there. That works based salvation. You know what I'm saying? Though, hey, faith without works is dead. But you know what I'm saying? But works alone. It's just, what difference are you from the builders? You know what I'm saying? That worship the works of thy hands. That edify the stone worked with tool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Pharisaical. That don't you know that the tool defileth the stone? You know what I'm saying? So look at your holy things. You know what I'm saying? The things that you perceive are holy. How many of them are worked with tool? But God himself said, hey, if it's worked with tool, it only edifies the work of man's own hands. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't a works-based salvation. And in this country, churchianity is works-based salvation. I mean, what does Joel Osteen ask for? Tithes. What does Eddie Long? Tithes. Creflo Dollar? Tithes. That's all they care about. Yeah, I mean, even some more doctrinally accurate people get really caught up in, man, we need to raise money to get this building. Or it's even like some people say, they'll say things like this: how many souls have you saved? It's like this. What the Bible tells me, one soul saved, the whole of heavens rejoices. So what? Because you saved 100,000 people, but I only saved one. Look, not saying I didn't save no one, but did I convince them to give another look to the real that may have made them open up at some point? Does that make me less of an individual? It's like, hey, you in gay clothing, come here and sit next to me. But you in that ugly beard, sit beneath my footstool. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, have thee become partial in thy judgment? You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, have I? Yeah, at some point. But look, I acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? And I think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's people that in the Bible and the gospel said they just looked at Jesus and they knew he was Son of God. And they said, I know you're the real. And he was like, basically, he's like, you're saved. You know what I'm saying? For that. You know, and it wasn't because of, it wasn't their works, it was their faith. You know what I'm saying? That saved them. Though your works to some people do prove your faith, because that's because you got a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at this stuff, man.